Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Question: in what manner can one understand the sāmānyachaitanya Brahman is the subtlest and omnipresent? All that is an effect is gross and limited. All that is the cause is subtle and all-pervasive. This is fundamental rule. As Brahm is the cause of everything, it is the subtlest and all-pervasive. Like compared to sea water, its froth and salt is gross. This shows that earth is the effect of water. Thus water is subtler and more pervasive than earth. Stone cannot be made to pass through a cloth. Water cannot be retained in a cloth. Wherever one digs, water springs out from earth. Puranas state that the world is tenfold expansive than earth. Thus water is subtler and more pervasive than earth. Similarly, heat from fire, etc., causes excessive perspiration in the body, and in the environment it leads to precipitation and rainfall. This explains that water is the effect of fire. Thus, in comparison to water, fire is subtler and more pervasive. Water cannot be held in a cloth, however, it can be stored in a pot, but sun rays cannot be contained in a pot. Puranas state that the fire is tenfold expansive than water, thus fire is subtler and more pervasive than water. Similarly, the birth and extinction of fire is dependent on air. This explains that fire is the effect of air, thus air is subtler and more pervasive than fire. Rays of the sun cannot be contained in a pot but can be seen by the eyes. However, air is invisible to the eyes. Puranas state that air is tenfold expansive than fire. Thus, air is subtler and more pervasive than fire. Similarly, emergence, existence, and dissolution of air occurs in space. This explains air is the effect of space, thus space is subtler and more pervasive than air. Air cannot be seen through eyes, but it can be perceived through skin. However, space cannot be perceived through skin. Puranas state that space is tenfold expansive than air, thus space is subtler and more pervasive than air. Similarly, what lies beyond the space? Upon such rumination, intellect declares, I don't know. This stupefied state of the intellect reflects ignorance as its cause. This explains that space is the effect of ignorance. Thus, ignorance is subtler and more pervasive than space. Space is not perceived by the skin, but it can be sensed through mind. Ignorance, however, cannot be grasped by the mind either. Vedic scriptures state that ignorance is infinitely expansive in comparison to space. Thus, ignorance is subtler and more pervasive than space. Similarly, I don't know. This experience reflects presence of ignorance, and it is known through the illumination of the ever-knowing existence. And ignorance is asti. Ignorance is perceptible. But really, is it perceptible? I don't see. Because everybody here thinks falsely that they know everything. They read through few books these days, especially. They listen to few videos or audios on the internet or YouTube, which are all free. And then they think they know everything. I was being told that on YouTube these days, every Tom, Dick, Harry, now that's English names, so we can change into every Ramesh, Suresh, Dushyant, is making their asanas videos. I know some of the people, I was told some of the people who learnt here a little bit, whatever. Even they are making their videos and they are ready to teach, and they are, what would they say? Like, share and subscribe. Right? They are actually exhibiting it on the social media. And it is so difficult that anybody who is a bit learned, a bit wise, for this person to let the other person know that you really don't know what you are doing, and you have. It is a paap, I would say, to be a teacher in this way, where you are not even properly a student. To have excellence in yogasanas, you need at least 20 years of practice. When I say 20 years, then I can say at least 5 to 6 hours of practice every day. Then now, if you have started with 30, then it's 50, and if you have started with 20, then maybe another 20 years. And if you start, say, at 50, well, by the time you will be 70, you'll maybe lose the whole idea of making a video and telling people that, I'm a teacher and all that. Or because of various other reasons, maybe not. Some people have really very good kafaj bodies, so they might be very strong even in their older age. So it's although it's in a way a fact, I'm not saying that it's a wrong statement that ignorance is perceptible, but maybe it is only perceptible to those who have some wisdom. Those who don't even have a wisdom, such people without any knowledge have proclaimed that they know everything. That they are so ready to be teacher, and there are some organizations who have these courses. This 3-day course, then there's another 3-day course, level 2. By level 3, you are a teacher. Then they right away have a teacher training course. If you've done that, you are a teacher. Then they have in the teacher grading system that you are of this grade, and maybe 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. But then everybody is a teacher. So I wonder, if everybody is a teacher, then who is learning from them? But it's a very good multiple marketing system. It's such an ego booster. Maybe that's why they are popular also, because nobody likes to be thawed and humbled, and nobody likes to be told that you don't know, or you need to work hard, or it takes 20 years or 30 years, and no wonder. But still, it says ignorance is, and ignorance is perceptible. And ignorance, here comes my favorite line, is endeared to the ignorant. So if I like my ignorance, why would I want it to be removed? But where they are saying the ignorance is perceptible, it means that actually is in the light of the witness that it is there, but the intellect, like if the fog comes on the camera lens, then the person who is standing at the viewfinder, that person's eyes are all fine. But if the viewfinder is having a fog or dirt or grease on it, then it can't see clearly. So it will be all dirty video recording will happen. So you need to clean the lens of the camera. So the intellect is the lens. So if that lens is not clean and clear, how will it see the mind? Can't see that. So when we say perceptible, then it is more from the point of view of the witness, that it is perceptible to the witness. But then there is something in between. Mind and me is the intellect, which will decisively say that mind is not right. So if that intellect is not sharp enough, clean enough, translucent enough, can't see the mind or the senses or the body or the external objects. So ignorance is very, very precious to people. They don't want to leave that. In this manner, Asti, Bhati, Priya, Brahma Chaitanya is perceived and meshed in ignorance. It is enmeshed and also perceived. Thus, ignorance is dependent on Brahma Chaitanya. Hence, Brahma Chaitanya is subtler and more pervasive than ignorance. Good Lord. Ignorance cannot be grasped through mind. However, I don't know, this experience is used to make an inference. It's an indirect inference which is made. It is not directly perceived. That's why the gurus have to beat the bush and beat around the bush so much so and so many years sometimes until the disciple says, "Oh Guruji, I am such an agyani. I know nothing. Please grace me, put me on the path." Because initially, just see all of you. Did you come here to get your agyan and ignorance removed? There was a feel-good factor when you heard me on the videos. It was a feel-good factor. I'm saying nice, good things and talking about, spirituality and all that. And it was a very interesting thing to know. So it was, in a way, more like curiosity to see the person who is speaking that, or the person who is singing all that, or the person who is talking something different. Something different. I know some people have actually said this to me, that they were never interested in Guru or anything, but they heard me singing. It was some public program. So they heard the voice and they got so attracted and they went in. They came in the marquee to listen, and then they came every day, and that's how their journey started. And there's somebody who said, "Oh, you were so an eloquent speaker and we were so impressed by your English and such an educated person." And it was very intriguing to know that who is this person who is wearing ochre clothes but speaking such a polished English. So that became their key factor to come in. Then there is a factor that one should have a guru. So it's like a tradition. So customary, you need to have a guru. So who is good guru? So they chose me. They did the guru shopping first and then they chose me. And then they said, "Oh no, this is a good guru. So let's be with this guru." And it was never ever that the ignorance was hurting you and you were dying to get it removed. There's a feel-good factor, there's a tradition, there's a custom, there's 100 other reasons. So that's why ignorance is right in the mind and yet the mind can't see it. And then on the top, your mind will create a whole philosophy of its own, a system and a set of beliefs and rituals which it will do in name of religion. Then that is so endearing to you, you don't want to leave that. Every mind, every family have their own set of certain things, that we don't do this on Friday and we do this on Thursday and we don't do anything on Monday. We go to the temple on Sunday, and like that. There is a tradition, or there is a tradition of not doing anything at all. Not doing anything at all, so-called religious or spiritual. Blank. Just blank. So ignorance is never seen by the mind itself. So it's a very hard job on part of any acharya, any guru, to put a disciple at that pedestal where the person can see that there is ignorance, where the person can see that life is very precious and I am not supposed to waste it on just indulging into things. It's a hard job on the part of the guru to let you understand that this body is not you, hence the sensory satisfaction of this body will not lead you to anything. And the chela is still so subdued in the mental conflicts and the conditionings and the orgies and the great passions which are like ocean in the mind. So maybe for a certain fraction of second this feeling comes in, oh yes, we have ignorance and we have to know so much. But then whoosh comes a tsunami of the past conditionings, and this little dispassion or this little understanding which arose just goes away. I want to do this, I want to do that. Dikha dunga duniya ko, I'll show the whole world who I am. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this and I'll do that. That doership and that bearership is so strong that it takes away the pain that I have so much ignorance. And the mind can't address it, and the mind can't see it. That's a tough part. So, ignorance cannot be grasped through the mind. However, I don't know. This experience is used to make an inference, and being self-effulgent, Brahma Chaitanya is not subject of any proof or validation. Like a tiny mole on the body, ignorance exists as a mere speck in the all-pervasive Brahma. And the remaining Brahma is pure and self-effulgent. This is what Shruti states. Thus Brahma is subtler and more pervasive than ignorance. In this manner, sāmānyachaitanya, Brahma is subtlest and more pervasive than the entire prapanch. Anunam anuhu. Brahma Chaitanya is, now anu, atom, is the subtlest of all, right? Anunam anu. And Brahma is more subtler than the anu also. Mahto mahtiyan, and is bigger than any big thing. There's the two contradictory statements which are used to. The Shruti explains that Brahma is subtler than the atom, and subtler, now they have established, subtler than the all very expensive ignorance, and Brahma is more far more wider. And this whole ajnana, this whole ignorance is just like a small mole in a body. So consider this whole macrocosmic world has been born out of the maya, the ajnan, and this ajnan, this ignorance is just like a mole in Brahman. Nothing more than that. Question: what conviction is reached after knowing sāmānyachaitanya? Asti, bhati, priya. Sāmānyachaitanya, the Brahman, is who I am, and I am that. Asti, bhati, priya, sāmānyachaitanya Brahman. The world of names and forms is an illusion that appears in me. This is the conviction attained. Now, Pitambarji is saying about himself, in a way, that he has attained this conviction. But you'll have to remember that the attributes which have been given for the deserving eligible person, if one has that, vivek, vairagya, shat sampatti, mumokshata, if you have this, then surely this conviction will be attained. Now, if you are lacking into that preparation of the antakaran, then obviously this requires much more than just reading this passage. Question: what does one gain after realizing the same? Answer: the realization eradicates all misconceptions, and by attaining Paramananda, one is eternally liberated. This realization that I am Asti Bhati Priya Sāmānyachaitanya Brahma, number one, and this whole objective world of names and forms is just an illusion. And this whole illusion is happening in me. Until this happens, the Paramanand will not be attained. So one cannot say that. So see, they are not saying that by listening you will get it all. They are saying by conviction. And conviction, how, it's my question to all of you, how does this conviction be attained?
मेडिटेशन के बाद ही कन्विक्शन आएगा. श्रवण मनन करने के बाद मेडिटेशन और we have to experience it only then.
But there will be no sincerity.
Like right now, I am Ishwarya, like I believe it to be. In the similar manner, when I know I am Brahman, so there will be nothing left.
Let us be focused on the chapter 10 alone, where this solution of how this conviction can be attained was given. So I am asking in relation to that, not your general information about the subject. How can this conviction be attained?
Unmade mistakes.
And that's just one part of many methods. This is one method.
By eradicating doubt.
It's a general answer.
By realizing the substratum of all the elements is me.
Chapter 10, which you have done in relation to that only, my question is,
By coming out of the ignorance.
Nishedha Vidya, by understanding the Nishedha attributes and discarding all that is not real. And
this is again one theory. One theory. Where did it go? Nobody. Huh.
By first accepting the ignorance and then working on the sadhana chatushtay.
General answer.
By knowing that I am Asti Bhati Priya and everything is happening in me as illusion in the form of names and forms.
It's still general because it's repetition of what I have just said or read.
First of all, we have to experience the negation of all the things that we are not. And then from there on, we will realize what we actually are.
Okay. There was something which was very important, and I had mentioned also that this is the key actually to what we are trying to achieve, and that achievement cannot happen without three things, which was listed very precisely in this Vichar Chandrodaya, and that was Shruti, Yukti and Anubhav. Isn't it so? So here you are either talking about the yuktis and giving me this, that, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H of the yukti. So you are missing the Shruti part. And then some are talking about that realization will happen until it happens, until we negate everything, it cannot be achieved. So see, it's a three-prong approach which has been given. So precise. You don't have to just kick everything and everybody to get your answers. The answers are already there which you have gone through. But it should hit like a bull's eye. So it's Shruti, Yukti and Anubhav. Obviously, until you don't hear Shruti, how will you know? You need to hear the Vedic knowledge. So, see, they could have said that you need to find a Guru first. Because without the Guru, this whole dialogue wouldn't even have started. Now, I am talking about how this conviction can be attained. Now, my question is not about the Guru and not about what is your mental state and not about Manan is all about the mental state. What you are lacking is the concentration and reflections onto it. So it's Shruti and Yukti and Anubhav. This is how it comes about.